What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to DSM Pregame Live, Sixers Celtics Game 4, streaming to you exclusively on the DSM Media's YouTube channel. Guys, first and foremost, if you are new to the channel, make sure to check us out on Twitter at DSM_media. Hit that follow button. We greatly appreciate it. And while you're over on the channel, make sure to check out the link tree in our bio. It will take you to every social media platform we are available on. Like I said, this show is streaming to you live exclusively on the YouTube channel, as do our Phillies and Eagles pregame lives as well. So if you guys want to catch any of the pregame lives, be interactive with any of your hosts like so. And if you want a chance to be entered into our giveaway, here are the very simple steps. Subscribe to the DSM YouTube channel. Tune into any Sixers Celtics pregame live this week, including this one, and drop your score prediction in the comments for a chance to be entered to win a jersey of your choice. I am one half of your host here, Dylan Davis. You can find me on Twitter at DylanJD98. To my left, my co-host, Scotty. You can find him on Twitter as well, at Scotty Drown. My man, what is going on as you prepare yourself for this Game 4, this must-win Game 4?
I feel that, Abe. I do. I feel that at this point, man. That's where I'm kind of at. It's like, what can we do to change the tide here? Because we picked the Sixers to win every game, and it's felt good every time I picked them, right? It felt like the time for the Sixers to win that game, except for maybe Game 2. Game 2 was maybe the game where got a little overzealous, right? And maybe I shouldn't have picked
Joel coming back after winning the MVP, but realistically, were they really ever going to take 2 in Boston, no matter who played and who didn't?
That would be, that would be a dream if they did that. So like that, maybe I got overzealous on that one. But Game 3, you see the Embiid moment before the game. Maybe that is what it is. Maybe it got a little too exciting in there for the guys, but there's no excuses at this point in the playoffs, man. You see Embiid out there. His son comes out. He has a moment. He's accepting the MVP. And I think, just to go back to that point that I just said regarding it, maybe getting a little too excited. The only person that should have got a little too excited was Joel Embiid. And Joel Embiid was the best player on the floor. Yes. So that's not an excuse for everybody else. I take that back. Embiid would be the guy that would maybe get a little overzealous to start the game, maybe shoot the ball too much, try to do too much. He didn't do that. He did his thing in this game, and the other guys just weren't able to follow up behind him. It was disappointing, man. It's disappointing. I'll say this. It's disappointing to see Malcolm Brogdon and Marcus Smart outplay James Harden and Tyrese Maxey.
And Brogdon didn't even have a great game off the bench. He didn't shoot well. He didn't shoot efficiently. So
still had a better game than, say, a James Harden, right, in this game. I mean, around the same tier if you want to go that route. But that just can't happen, right? James Harden's supposed to be the third or at least the fourth best player in this series, right? You would think. So he's just not showing up. I get it, on Sixers Twitter, you have the Harden stan accounts that were kind of just trying to point blame at him. Come on, man.
That's ridiculous. Let's call it what it is, right? And Abe, Brett, I see your comments. Going to get to those in literally 2 or 3 minutes because I don't want to spend too much time looking back on Friday night because this is the biggest game of the season. It is must win. Scotty, you did a show before the season started, or really at the end of last season, and you call it now or never. Like, this is the time for the Sixers. This is the epitome of that show, of that point, right? But to go back to Game 3, I mean, I think you hit the nail right on the head. For sure. I mean, everybody not named Joel Embiid. I think PJ Tucker had a pretty good game. D-Melt was okay, right? But anybody really not named Joel Embiid didn't show up really on Friday night, right? And so, of course, you can throw shade and throw blame Tyrese Maxey's direction because he has not been good really all series except for Game 1. You can throw blame at Tobias Harris. He was somewhat of a no-show. You can throw blame at the rest of the bench. You can really throw blame in a lot of directions. It starts and ends with James Harden. And that's where we kind of started the Game 1 pregame show about this starts and ends with James Harden tonight. And I don't know how you go from giving me 45 in Game 1 to, hear me out, 3 for 28 over the next 2 nights. Sky, I'm not sure I've seen a drop-off this catastrophic ever.
Yeah.
And I mean that. You said to me before we went live here, like, well, you need James Harden not to be a ghost. I wish he was a ghost last game.
Yeah.
A ghost meant I didn't notice James Harden. Oh, trust me. You noticed James Harden last night.
Yeah.
You noticed James Harden or on Friday night, excuse me. You noticed James Harden in game 2. James Harden has not only I don't even know how to phrase this. James Harden has only not shown up. He has been a complete and utter disaster, man. I mean, what did he shoot last game? 2 for 14, 2 for 15 from the floor, maybe even a little bit worse. 5, 6, 7 turnovers, it feels like. Not only is he turning the ball over, not is he hesitating 2 feet in front of the rim on a non-contested what would have been floater and trying to dish it to Tyrese Maxey through traffic. Not only all that, when he turns the ball over, he's walking back on defense. There's no life. There's no energy. And the funniest part, man, is like you get vintage Harden performance in game 1, and it makes you buy in. It makes you believe that you were right about James Harden being healthy this year and showing up and still being that guy. And you see him in game 2. You saw the clip, I'm sure, of him rolling his eyes at Doc Rivers when Doc's addressing the team in the huddle, right? And it's like, you know what, dude? Shut up and get in line, bro, because you were the sole reason they lost game 3. You pointed it out to me. You saw the clip. We were watching the game together, and I turned to you and said it. Yeah. It got to a 74-72 game late in the third quarter. And the guy who takes the shot is 1 for 13 at the moment. Right. Not only takes the shot, your MVP is calling for the ball at the top of the key.
Screaming for it at the top of the key.
Ignores him, then dribbles the ball through the floor for 14, 15 seconds, then ultimately takes a step back 3, misses. Nobody gets back on defense. Joel's sluggish after that because he wanted the ball. Yeah. They miss, get a tip out. Oh, who is it? Al Horford for his 3rd or 4th 3 of the night, right? So that has to be the biggest takeaway. It is the fact that if James Harden doesn't play half that bad, they might win that ball game. Or it's at least a 1 or 2 possession game down to the wire.
Just play like an average NBA player, and we have a way better chance in this game. That was the point. Yeah, you hit it right on the head, because there was a point in this game where I looked at you and we looked at each other and we said, dude, like, this guy can't be on the court right now. Like, whenever he is struggling on an offense, he's not the greatest defender in the world anyways. So once he's struggling, loses his confidence on offense, he's not getting anything on the defensive end. Checks out of the game, man, and that's just unacceptable. And just to reiterate your point about Maxey Tobias, sure, Tobias Harris, 7 points in this game. It's inexcusable, but we've been through this with Tobias. We know, right? Maxey, he's a young kid. He's what, 3rd, 4th year in the league this year.
22 years old.
It's still not acceptable, but at the end of the day, who's the Hall of Fame or top 75 player all time?
Thank you.
It ain't Maxey. It isn't Tobias Harris. It isn't.
And by the way, Tobias may have had 7 points. Tobias didn't shoot 2 for 15 or whatever the hell James was.
Exactly.
Tyrese Maxey isn't shooting the ball well. Tyrese Maxey isn't 3 for 28 in the last 2 games after giving you 45 on over 50 or 60% shooting in game 1.
It's like you said.
That's the part I can't get behind.
Why can't we get something in between?
Why can't you get regular season Harden right now?
In game 1, right? Like, why can't we just get 22 and 10, man?
Hell.
Why have we stopped the easy plays to Embiid? Why is that like not a thing for him?
That's the other takeaway. I want to throw this back to you because you just brought that up. That was my other takeaway from this game, besides how bad Harden and everybody else was, right? We have watched enough Sixers basketball to see and to know that Joel Embiid is the clear focal point of the offense. Sometimes to a fault, the 76ers offense stalls because they try too hard to get Joel the ball, and they take 8, 10 extra seconds off the shot clock, and the possession gets watered down. I have never seen a game in the Joel Embiid era where he has been the best player on the floor, shooting efficiently, having his way, and them not go to him. They did not go to him. The pick and roll, non-existent. Posting him up on the block, non-existent. Marcus Smart, just to be an agitator, has his arms out wide to show, my hands aren't on him, He's trying to post up Joel Embiid. Get him the ball, man.
It's so frustrating.
He was better than Tatum. He was better than Brown. He was the best player on the Sixers. He was the best player on the floor, the most dominant player on the floor. and they didn't make it a point to get him the ball. That is what I don't understand. Now, if that's on Harden and the team, if that's on Doc, I don't know. But that better be fixed today, dude.
Yeah. There's nothing worse than going back and being on Twitter and seeing these recycled videos of Embiid having, Jaylen Brown sealed off. Just learn how to do a post-entry pass. Why do we not know this by now when you have Joel Embiid playing with you? It is... No. It's unreal, Dylan. Like that.
It was actually one of Harden's worst turnovers in the night. If you go back to that play where Joel's in the paint, I believe it's Brown or Smart trying to guard him, and Harden's hesitating. Joel goes, well, shit, I got to get out of the lane because it's 3 seconds. He takes a step to the left, and literally as he's taking a step out of the paint, now Harden decides to try to get him the ball through traffic, goes the other way, bucket for Boston. Yep. It was a complete and utter disaster, man. I don't want to go ahead.
You'll see Harden struggle to get Embiid the ball in those moments, but then you'll see him go and do like a pick and roll where he throws the ball behind his head and like a lob pass behind him. Like, what are we doing, man? You just gotta play basketball. Like, that's what's bothering me about it. Because one, these guys aren't doing the simple things. You saw it in game 3 again, right? We talked about Maxey, and this is a point I'll get on Maxey about, because game 2, we saw him try to dribble the ball instead of get on the floor and take that ball in that possession for Boston. They get a 3-pointer off of it. Then this game 3, you see the exact same thing, man. And that's the most frustrating part. They're not doing the simple things.
Right.
And they're not leaving their all on the court. No. And that's what's bothering me. Ever since game 1, it's like, oh, we're in good shape. No, you're not. You're losing. You lost the home court advantage, right, in game 3. Now it's not in your favor anymore. You were not they were never the favorite, but it's not in your favor when it comes to home court advantage, or at least equaling the playing field in that space. So that's what's bothering me right now about the Sixers. It's not that they're not good enough. I've seen people saying that.
Stop.
I don't believe that. I'm not giving them that excuse. I'm
sorry. That's utterly ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't want to just go by paper. I just don't want to go by namesake, but the 76ers can compete with anybody, and they can damn sure compete with the Boston Celtics. Yeah. The last thing I would bring up, you brought up Maxey and putting the ball on the floor and everything like that. Like, finish strong. Well, that'll be one of the keys today. Maxey, Harden, D-Mount. I am so tired of them beating their primary defender off the dribble, getting into the paint, and just this little underhand soft touch that's just getting thrown off the glass the other way, bro. It happened 4 or 5 times in game 3. That's 10 points. I mean, it's an easy 10 points.
You dunk the basketball.
Finish with authority.
Why can't we dunk the basketball? Like, why can't we try to go up and dunk on someone? Like, Jaylen Brown's trying to murder Embiid, but we just can't go up with any force or any aggressiveness. It is annoying, and it's almost, now that we've talked through it and talked through game 3 in a sense, it almost feels like the Sixers are saying the Celtics are better than them, right? It's almost like they feel like the little brother, and I hate it, man. It's been pissing me off royally the last 2 games to sit here and watch this.
I agree with you. With that said, go back to Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
I tweeted this out, everybody who's watching right now live with us. And Scotty, what did I turn to you and everybody at your house and say after we lost this game? I know some alcohol was taken in, but do you recall what I looked at you and said?
I'm not going to get it correct, so you can go ahead.
Okay. I said, give me until 6 p.m. on Sunday.
Yeah.
Don't give up. Don't give up yet. Don't get and listen. Has James Harden, has Tyrese Maxey, has Tobias Harris, has the 76ers team over the last 2 games given you reason to be confident? No, they haven't. But give me to 6 p.m. today.
Yeah.
Because the bottom line is this. I get it. We did the job in Boston. You took one. What did that do? It swayed home court back to Philly's direction.
Yeah.
Did anybody think we were taking both in Philadelphia? Realistically, did you think we were going up 3-1 in this series and trying to bury Boston? I'm being serious, okay? They win today. It doesn't matter. No one's going to remember in which order they won these 2 games. So if they would have won Friday and lost today, They're going back for game 5, 2-2. It's a best of 3 series after that. Give me till 6 p.m. today. And to Abe's point up here, brother, there ain't no probably about it.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you. This is the biggest game of the season. If they lose, it's a wrap. It's over. It's over in 5, bro. 5 after they took game 1 without Embiid in Boston.
You can't win. If you can't win one at home, then what makes you think we're going to go on the road in game 5 again in Boston and
then win 3 in a row after that? Like win
3 in a row and stop them from eliminating us in Boston, right? Like, yeah, good luck. You got to win today. And I don't even know if it's, it's not confidence, right? That's not where I'm coming from today. It's more or less desperation. That's where I'm coming from today with the Sixers. And that's why I think they're going to go out and they're going to have to play their hardest today. Because there's no excuses left, man. There's just none. No. There's no excuses.
Listen to me. Listen to me right now. There's legacies on the line today. There are futures. There are paychecks. There are livelihoods on the line today. Not just the series, not just this season. They lose today, series over, season over. Gotcha. I'm with you, right? James Harden earned himself a paycheck and probably a 4-year max contract after Monday night, right? We thought. He has played himself out of that. Scotty, if that James Harden continues to come out and show today, and they lose this game in large part due to him, he ain't coming back.
Right.
That playoff Harden, that playoff resume, that's going to be spoken about loudly this offseason.
That game one,
Harris, you score 7 points again. You're getting moved this offseason. Doc Rivers, if you're out in 5 in the second round again, you're gone. And not this game, these last 2 games were not on Doc Rivers. But he's gone.
He's gonna fall on the sword for sure. Yeah.
This organization is going to have a complete and utter turnover this all season. Legacies are on the line today. This organization's, this season, everything is on
even Maxey,
the line today.
People, you talk about legacies. It's not necessarily his
Maxey, dude. Shams remember that Shams report a couple weeks ago about the contract, the extension Maxey could be getting?
You want that extension? You're not getting that with the way you've played against Boston, man. It's been all season, and it's continued into the playoffs. We thought he broke through in game 1. Not a chance. And, yeah, Harden, same thing, man. What the game 1 looks like right now, 1 out of 3 games, it looks like a fluke. That's what it looks like.
Right.
45 points? Like 7 for 14 from the three-point line? That looks like a fluke at the end of the day now.
No.
Gotta change it.
Let's start here when it comes to what needs to change today.
Yeah.
Let's not be shy. Let's not beat around the bush. It's Uno, right? It's James Harden. That's what needs to change today. I don't need 45-point James Harden. You're not getting 45-point James Harden next to Joel Embiid. It's not happening. No. You know what I need? Regular season Harden, because that is good enough to compete with Boston today.
Yeah.
Hell, Scotty, I'm being serious. I would take 18 points on efficient shooting.
Yeah. And getting the ball in Embiid's hands where he needs the ball. Like, that's your job. Like, he talked about this all season. Like, it's your job. Like, look, get it done. And I agree, man, that it's not necessarily about the points. We'll take 16, 17 points, 18 points if it's not on 2 for 14 shooting.
Right.
1 for 10 from the three-point line. Like, that's what can't happen.
Right.
The 5 turnovers, that's what can't happen.
If Harden was to give you 18 and 11 on efficient shooting and didn't turn the ball and only had 2 or 3 turnovers today, I'll take it if Joel Embiid's Joel Embiid today and another guy steps up.
Yeah.
Now, if no one else steps up next to Joel, you're going to need more out of James.
Yeah.
But my point is you can't get the negative James that you got in games 2 and 3. Dude, we had Austin Krell come on the middle of the Brooklyn Nets series in round 1, and he said the Sixers have no shot. None. Zilch. 0. If you get more of that James Harden than you do ceiling James Harden.
Yeah.
No shot. So it starts with him, man. And then it trickles just because he can't be so bad and so inefficient and so sloppy. Like, dude, if that's your guy, right? You want to hug Embiid. You want to embrace Embiid. That's your brother. Yeah. The Rolex to everything. He helped them win MVP this year. I got you. How about you show up for him on the floor?
Job's not finished.
How about you show up for him on the floor, bro? Because this man doesn't need another second option, another Robin to do a disappearing act on him again in the postseason. He already dealt with that for 5 years.
Barry Benson.
Last year, James Harden, his Robin, clearly wasn't healthy. We gave him a pass for that, correct? Yeah. He restructured. He took less money. He helped bring PJ Tucker and other people in. He had a great year. Hell, he was 8th in MVP voting this season. Show up, man.
Yeah. I'll throw this one to you. Just like my mom in the comments here. Play with some urgency, man. It was a funny quote. They were talking about they watched film the other day after the game, right? Yesterday after the game on Friday night. And apparently, Doc Rivers looked at Tyrese Maxey on a play where he was just standing in the corner, basically watching the play happen on offense. Doc Rivers asks him, what are you doing here? And Tyrese Maxey starts his answer with, I was waiting on, and Joel, it was either Trez or Joel that stopped him right there and said, waiting for what? We don't have time to wait. And that is my next key to victory for today. The key to turning this around. Play with the urgency. I asked for it in game 3. I asked them to
play with some goddamn heart, bro.
Punch first. Don't punch back. Punch first. Play with some urgency. No waiting around. There's no time to wait around right now. We said now or never. It's literally now or never. There is no time in between to wait around. The Celtics are not going to give you a game. They're not going to give it to you. This is a team that went to the finals last year against the defending Golden State Warriors, right? They went to the finals. They knocked the Heat out in the Eastern Conference Finals in a Game 7. They've been through the trenches in the playoffs. Yep. They're not going to give it to you. I get it. We've seen Jason Tatum be a choke artist. We've seen these guys choke on the big stage, but it wasn't in the second round. These guys have been here before, and they're not going to give you it. You have to come out, play desperate, play with urgency, and punch first. Don't wait until – you know what blew me about that game, Dylan, is, the Sixers come out after Embiid wins MVP, and the Celtics come out, and they're shooting the ball like robots.
Oh.
They're shooting the ball
after Embiid starts the game out of the pick and roll and knocks down the first bucket of the game.
And these guys are just hitting 3 after 3.
Bang, and then that's it. Listen, man.
Punched us in the mouth.
First of all, Beard, you best believe it.
Yeah.
Summer body not in full effect just yet, man. But it's a nice day. We got the TV outside, so once I'm off of here, I'm back outside. That is the explanation for the no shirt or a hoodie over here.
550. Thank you for that, Phil. We need that confidence.
I want to get to Abe's comment in a second, but I want to add on to the urgency point by this, Scotty. Go back to our recap on the Faithful Fanatic show about Game 2, right? What did we say? The Sixers played like a team that knew they already stole one in Boston. They took care of business. Yeah. Boston played like a team that knew they could not go down 0-2. Yeah. The Sixers didn't match Boston's desperation. They got ran out of the gym. Boston cannot match your desperation today. They cannot match your want-to, your heart, your effort, your energy tonight. You are the team that cannot go down 3-1 back to Boston. It will be over in 2 nights' time. If that happens. The crowd's going to show up.
Yep.
The fans will be there.
They'll be there. We're there. You know what I mean? Like,
Abe, we're hurting on this Sunday, but we're trying, bro.
I got plenty of leftover brews from Friday that I'll indulge in after we get off of here. But yeah, man, you got to. I mean, I'm nervous as hell. If I'm being completely honest here, I have to have a brew or two.
Yeah, and I think this point by KC is big as well.
Spot on, man.
I need 20 from the quote-unquote others, right? You see what the Lakers are getting. You see what the Heat are getting. You see what Denver's getting.
That's my thing. Why can't we get a guy that it just gets hot for the series, right? Every other team, it feels like they just have another guy that gets hot for a said series. Like KC's pointing out right there. Max Strus. He's gotten hot for the Miami Heat. Look at what the Miami Heat are playing with. It's actually insane that they're still winning. They've been able to win as an 8 seed, go and knock the Bucks out. Now they're just handling the Knicks. Like, That's what the Sixers need to look at and be ashamed of themselves and look to do better. That's what I'm looking at around the league. Why can't we get a Maxey that gets hot during the second round of the playoff set?
Well, you had D'Anthony Melton do it in game one.
Yeah, he had what, 5 threes in game one? He had 4 threes last game, but then nobody else. Right. Nobody else, right? So,
and I want to get back to this because this is huge for me.
Yeah.
Every time we take a shot on offense, ask yourself, was that shot with intent? Was it with a purpose? It's that, Abe, right? But also ask yourself, was this the best shot possible? And what I mean by that is not waiting around for a better shot. I know the shot clock gets watered down, like things can happen in a half court set. But you and I, Scotty, freaking out because if Tyrese Maxey is open on the wing and he passes up an open three, and then he dribble drives and penetrates the lane, and then he kicks out, and then the shot clock's getting watered down, and then it's a Tobias Harris contested jumper.
Right.
What was the better shot? Tyrese Maxey's open three, earlier on in the shot clock, or Tobias Harris or James Harden contested
rush shot at the end of the shot clock? Yeah, I'm with you.
What was the better shot? You cannot be gun shy today. No. You cannot be hesitant. George Niang, if you are on the floor, you are on the floor to do one thing and one thing only. Now, granted, George went on like a 7-point, run by himself the other night, but that's it. Shoot the ball.
You look on the other side of the court, and do you see Al Horford hesitating to shoot threes?
No.
Do you see Derek White hesitating to shoot threes?
How bad were they the first 2 or 3 games of the series, especially Horford?
None of their guys are hesitating, and that's the difference right now. They're punching first. They're shooting first. They're getting more shots. They're getting offensive rebounds. They're getting loose balls. They're doing all the little things, and it's the difference in the series. And that's what I said on Twitter the other day, yesterday, to be specific. It's infuriating. It's infuriating that we've been to the second round how many times, and we got our backs against the wall again right now, and yet these guys aren't leaving it all on the court. Embiid left it all on the court. PJ left it all on the court. D-Melt left it all on the court in game 3. You need everybody to do it. You need everybody to leave it all on the court, to give it everything that they had in that said game.
Right.
And it's just not happening. I don't understand it, man.
Well, I would say this. You mentioned it's infuriating because it's the second round year after year. It's that movie, right? We've seen this ending before.
Aren't you guys tired of it? If we're tired of it, isn't Embiid and company tired of it?
I'm tired of the lack of help for Joel in the second round every year, man.
Yeah.
Listen, we can talk injuries and we can talk about getting frustrated because it's a running joke at this point. It's every year, right? I get it. He plays through pain. And 95% of the time, injured or not, broken face or not, torn meniscus or not, torn ligament in a shooting hand or not, right? LCL tear or not, 95% of the time, he's the best player on the floor still.
Yeah.
Where is the effing help? I have never seen a team that's quote unquote others all do not show up, and not only not show up, are hurting their team.
Hurting the team.
Tyrese Maxey, when he plays hesitant, when he shoot the open three rather than a contested floater. I don't need to see that freaking floater anymore, man.
He takes the hardest shots in the world. Maxey takes the hardest shots in the world. Like, I saw somebody making fun of him on Twitter, and it's a little true. I mean, he tries to take like the Instagram shots, right? Like the fadeaway, floating and leaning to the side. Like, dog, we just need simple basketball. It gets down to the basics in the playoffs. And I think that's what these guys don't realize, man. Like, it's the basics. You're looking for fouls. You're trying to do this, do that. You got to play basketball, and you got to do it the right way. And it comes down to turnovers. It comes down to hustle. It comes down to all the little things, all the little foundations of basketball. And it's too often that this team just doesn't do them.
Well, Casey, this conversation struck about 15 minutes drunkenly after this game ended at Scotty's Friday night, and it got a little intense, because this is from my point of view, yes, and I know we've actually talked about this before, Scotty, like 2 years ago probably, when they were the 1 seed and got bounced by the Hawks. And obviously it was the Ben Simmons drama, but like with those expectations, you were supposed to get to the Eastern Conference Finals at least, and you got bounced. So we had that conversation, and it's a guard-driven league. I get it. Okay. You just have to ask yourself, is the center being this, is your focal point being the center one of the reasons your offense is halting?
Right.
Is it one of the reasons that you're losing games? And no,
Yeah.
because your guard, that guard that you so desperately need, that we think we have in James Harden, if he don't play half that bad, they might win the game.
Yeah.
Screw that. They probably win the game. Okay.
Yeah.
So I do believe, and here's the thing, not any center. Not any superstar center.
Exactly.
That's
exactly what I was going to say.
This one, the most dominant player in the game.
Generally
the MVP,
speaking.
The back-to-back scoring champion. That can be the focal point of a championship team. Where is everybody else? And again, I can't stop talking about it. It's not just where are they, it's when are they not hurting the team on the floor?
Yeah. Hit shots. I mean, help your MVP out, man. I would say this to KC's question, and generally speaking, I believe that. I believe in that theory. I believe that your center can't be the focal point of a championship team. Embiid is not your everyday center. He doesn't play like a typical standard center. He doesn't play like that, right? So to answer your question, KC, it's not that I think just any center can be the focal point, but a center like Joel Embiid, like a Nikola Jokic even. Look at what Jokic is doing out there in the West. There's 2 centers in this league that you can have be the focal point and win games with them.
I mean, come on, man. Look at the Bucks. I mean, Giannis isn't a center, but he's the closest thing to a center that's not a center.
Right. Like it's not like Brook Lopez is playing center.
Almost 7 foot. Like
Brook Lopez is playing stretch 4, and Giannis is playing a center-esque role. He brings the ball up, but it's the same thing. Embiid can bring the ball up too. It's just annoying. And, you know, it's a great question, KC, and I'm sure if things go downhill again this season, it'll be brought up again in the offseason because it's already started talking. Embiid's 1-11 versus the Celtics and this and that. 1-11 versus the Celtics, but let's add some context. Right? He got swept in the bubble by the Celtics. He didn't have Ben Simmons. He didn't have anybody, right? Tobias cracked his head in that series. Like, you got to add some context here. That. It's not just on Embiid,
and
man.
The Sixers were the only team in the league to vote against going to the bubble.
Exactly.
I think it's a good point by Brett. If no one steps up, it don't matter. It don't matter what position you play. If everybody else doesn't, you know, again, it's not only not stepping up, it's not hurting your team, right? You could be Steph Curry. Steph Curry could give you 45. Steph Curry could hit 9 threes.
Clay goes 1 for 11 from the 3.
If the rest play like James Harden and Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris played, Steph Curry's going to lose that game against the Boston Celtics.
Exactly, man.
Anyway, man, listen, we literally have like 25 minutes, less than 25 minutes until this game starts. So we're going to get into standout stars. We're going to get into predictions. Guys, don't forget, if you want to be entered for a chance to win our giveaway, hit that subscribe button on this YouTube channel and drop your score prediction on the show right now for a chance to be entered. If you are selected at the end of this series, obviously I know if things continue to trend this way, you might not be loving a Sixers jersey, but hey, it's a free Sixers jersey, right? Joel Embiid's still your favorite player. Tyrese Maxey, you still love Tyrese.
Personally,
go get yourself a free jersey.
If I won the contest, I would ask for the Joel Embiid jersey. He won MVP this year. Maybe even get the City edition, and then you know it's from the season he won MVP, right? So
right.
That's the way I would probably play it if I was the lucky one.
Well, I looked you in your eyes and I said it Friday night. Give me
you did, man.
6 p.m. tonight. If they come out and play like that, if James Harden plays like that tonight, then hey, season over, right?
Brad's spot on right there. Makes it picking the jersey easier. Yeah,
absolutely, man. So yeah, hit that subscribe button, everybody. And drop your score predictions if you want to be entered for a chance to win. Brett, Will, Abe, you're already entered. Don't worry about it from previous shows. You only have to drop your score prediction once throughout this series. So, Scotty, again, we have talked about the why.
Yeah.
We've talked about the how. Who needs to step up for the 76ers to win this game and even up this series heading back to Boston?
I went Harden last game, didn't work out. Could always go Embiid. He got on the right track last game, 30 points, 13 rebounds. He did his thing, man. He was an MVP, and I do think Embiid has to have an MVP level-esque game today. And it sucks because it's not fair. He should have teammates that can help him with his grade 2 LCL sprain that he shouldn't even be playing with for 4 to 6 weeks. I think Embiid does have to have an MVP-esque performance today in order for the Sixers to win. But I'm going to go a different route. I'm going to go with the guy, Tyrese Maxey. And I think today, right, backs against the wall, like I said earlier, like KC brought up with D'Angelo Russell and Max Strus,
right?
Somebody's got to get hot other than Embiid. Harden hasn't been the guy to do that. I think Maxey is the streaky guy that could have a big day and hit 4 threes, hit 5 threes, get up to that 20-point mark and help Embiid out. I'm going to go with Tyrese Maxey. A lot of focus was on him in the reports from Doc Rivers and that film session. A lot of it came from Maxey or about Maxey. I think Maxey is the guy that has the wake-up call after Game 3. I think he's the guy that comes out with hot shooting, gets it going, keeps his team alive, and ultimately gives Joel the helping hand that he needs. So I'll go with Tyrese Maxey on this one, man.
James Harden is not my standout star, but James Harden is the player that carries the most weight today.
Yeah,
Joel Embiid as well, because you need that type of performance from Joel.
Because Maxey doesn't get that without Harden playing good.
Right.
Today,
and
right?
even if Maxey goes off, but Joel and James struggle today, they're still going to lose, right?
Exactly.
You're assuming that those two need to pick up the slack. Can I go outside the box here?
Absolutely.
Can I say a non-player?
Absolutely.
Doc Rivers. And I say that because of this. The Sixers are not down 2-1 in the series because of Doc Rivers.
Right.
They're just not. But it's time for Doc to get a little creative.
Yeah.
It is time to limit that rotation a bit. Jalen McDaniels does not look like he belongs on the floor. And he played the second most minutes in the last 2 games off the bench. Right? Tied for the second most minutes. George Niang has to have an incredibly short leash. If George Niang doesn't even attempt a 3 within the first couple minutes of being on the floor, he needs to sit down. Because if he's not being involved on the offensive end beyond the arc, or he's not hitting from beyond the arc, there's no reason to have him out there. Okay. Yeah. I'm being serious. I would play. He's not going to. I would play Paul Reed at the 4 today a little bit. I think you can play Paul next to Joel against the Celtics with their size, with their athleticism, with their speed at the forward position. And Embiid can stretch the floor. He can play all over offensively. Yeah. You can still put Paul in that dunker spot because there's no one blocking him. Obviously, you're not going to have Tobias or PJ on the floor with them at the same time. But I think that gives you the ability to then run the 3-guard lineup. I think if you ran D-Melt, Maxey, Harden, Joel, and Paul Reed out, not for a long time because Reed starts to be your backup 5. So you have to be very, tinkering with these minutes that you run them together. But I think there's 2.5 minute sprints that you could run him at the 4 next to Joel. I think the fit is there. And I think it would be like what we just talked about with Giannis and Brook Lopez, right? Like Joel's the 5, but he's going to play the stretch 4. Yeah. Paul's the 4, but he's going to play in the dunker spot like a 5.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I would ask you this. Do you think that Paul Reed should be the second guy off the bench today? Right behind D-Melt?
If that's the situation, if you are willing to play him next to Joel,
not for Embiid to come off the court.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
I think the rebounding, man. We've been getting killed on the offensive boards, man, and that's been a problem. And I think Doc also
has to be. I think I looked at you because didn't Joel play the entire third quarter the other night?
Pretty sure, yeah.
And they were losing by however much at the end of the third, and I'm like, look at him. He's bent over, gassed, and we lost ground. Like Doc needs to be strategically better with. Okay, maybe I need to give the big fella 2-3 minutes here. I think Paul Reed next to Joel would help with this. Yeah, I think it would help with defense and athleticism on Tatum and Brown and Harford and Grant.
It's not that they're killing us on the offensive rebounds overall, but it's the moments. It's the big moments. And Embiid talked about it, right? Just the little tip outs by Derek White coming and crashing the boards and nobody boxing out, right? Those are the differences in this game. And I think Paul Reed could eliminate some of that just by his pure hustle, his nature, right? Like that's how he plays. So I agree, man. You got to get creative. I think that's a great word for Doc Rivers tonight, or this afternoon, I should say.
Say it
Get
again, bro.
creative.
It's now or never. Now,
Yep.
so you got to try something. You got to be different. You got like, because here's, like I said, even though it hasn't been Doc's fault that they've lost these 2 games and it's been on the players.
Yeah.
Those players aren't showing up for you. So now Doc has to take a little bit of that responsibility into his own hands and make something work. Don't wait for something to work. Listen, I know it's a miss or make league. You cannot stick around and just be like, well, our shots weren't falling today.
Yeah.
If someone's not hitting shots, they can't play. Does Daniel House get a little bit of run? Hell, dude, I don't know. Does Shake Milton get a little bit of run if you need offense off the bench? This is the point we're at, right? Like, I think everybody's on the board tonight outside of Furkan Korkmaz, Dwayne Dedmon, and Montrezl Harrell. I think those are the 3. I mean, Jaden Springer's not going to play either, but you get my point.
He's probably the best defender on the team, just by the looks of it.
I'm not arguing here for Jaden Springer to get in the game, but I think you get where I'm trying to go with that. You need to think outside the box and adjust your rotation. You need to have short leashes with people with these role players. And yeah, man, like it's as simple as that. So Scotty, with it being now or never. 6 p.m. That's what I asked you for, right?
Yeah.
So at 6 p.m. when we're texting back and forth about how this game went.
Yeah.
And we're getting ready for the Faithful Fanatic show tomorrow morning, live at 8 a.m. Are we talking about the Sixers going back to Boston 2-2? Or are we talking about the never part of it and the Sixers being down 3-1 with most likely their season ending?
Yeah. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I'm not making this pick out of confidence. It's not out of confidence. I have no reason to be confident in James Harden, Tobias Harris, Tyrese Maxey going into this game. It's out of desperation. It's about that now or never cue, that now or never motto, right? The Sixers have to come out and be desperate today. They have to play like this is game 7. This is it.
Yep.
It is. It may as well be game 7, right?
Absolutely.
This is it. Sixers are going to get the W today. I'm not picking a score. I don't care what the score is. I don't care how they win. Just win the goddamn game, and let's get to game 5, and we'll go from there. You can reinstill the confidence today. But once again, I just want to reiterate, I know it could sound homerish at this point because I'm picking the Sixers again. It's not out of confidence at this point. It's been out of confidence before that the Sixers could snap back at home, right? Sixers coming off a big game 1 W in game 2. Maybe they can ride that with getting the MVP back. It's not like that in this game at all. It's desperation because the Sixers have to. The Sixers have to, or the season is over. I'm going with the Sixers win. Doesn't matter the score. Doesn't matter how.
Well, just to put my money where my mouth is, 76ers money line is locked in for us. So I agree with you. Do I say this with utter confidence? Not really. But I think that this team over the course of this season and the first round of playoffs and game 1 of this series has provided enough evidence and enough faith that 2 games should not deter our thoughts that they are different.
Yeah.
This is it, though. It is the definition of a must win. It is the definition of desperation of a game 7, right? In game 4, the 76ers will show today how they are different. Now, does a win today mean that that I know that they're going to win the series? No. But I would tell you this, if they win today, the series is going 7.
Yeah.
And then it's anybody's fight, in the last round at Boston. The 76ers will win today. I think Joel Embiid obviously is never shy about, he doesn't really name call, he doesn't hand pick, but he's not shy to address his guys publicly and call them out a little bit. It's not throwing under the bus. It's, I need you to wake up, bro. Right? I need you to step up with me today. I think you get MVP Joel Embiid today.
Yeah.
I think he was really good in game 3. I think you get phenomenal today because I think he's tired of the lackluster play. I think he's tired of the fact that they won the only game this series without him, right? I think that he shows up 35 plus for Joel Embiid today. Couple blocks, big rebounding game for the big fella. I think you get a good James Harden. I don't think you get some crazy 7 threes from James Harden, 28 points, nothing like that. I would love it, but I think you get a good James Harden, a James Harden that's not killing you on either end of the ball. And I will say, either or of Maxey or Tobias, one of them is going to step up and have 20-plus points today. One of them. Obviously, we would assume Maxey because he's going to have the ball more. He's going to take more shots. But I will not. I mean, I would be a little surprised, I guess. But don't be too surprised if Tobias Harris gets going early and he kind of finds himself into a rhythm. The 76ers are going to win today. They are going back to Boston tied 2-2. And then at the end of the day, it does not matter in the order in which they won these 2 games. Obviously, we stole home court from Boston in game 1. You want to defend it. We would love. I'm being serious, Scotty. In the back of your mind, did you ever envision them going back to Boston up 3-1 because they were just going to protect home court?
Right.
Probably not, right? Especially if we're predicting the series to maybe go 7. So, with that said, it didn't matter. It doesn't matter if you win Friday or Sunday. Win today. That's what matters. Yeah, it doesn't matter how you win today. You don't need to beat Boston by 36 like they did to you in game 2. I don't care if you win by 1 with 0.1 seconds left. You find a way to get the job done this afternoon. Give me until 6 p.m. Give this team one more opportunity to prove people wrong and to show why they are different than in years past, why Joel Embiid is different in years past, because let's face it, he is different than the last 2 seasons because he finally won the MVP. Show up, be that MVP today, and I think the troops will follow suit behind their big fella. Guys, that is going to wrap up this DSM pregame live as we are just about 10 minutes away. You never know with the national broadcast. This could start right at 3:30. This could start at 3:45. I have no idea what they're going to do today, but that does it for us here at DSM Media. Guys, if you are new to the channel, we are brought to you by Manscaped. So go over to manscaped.com, use promo code DSM at checkout for 20% off and free shipping. Again, at the bottom of your screen, as you can see there, promo code DSM, all capital letters, for 20% off your total order, plus free shipping at manscaped.com. I'm one half of your host, Dylan Davis. You can find me on Twitter at DylanJD98. You can find my co-host Scotty at Scotty Drown, and you can find all of our work over at DSM_media. Have a great rest of your Sunday, and go Sixers.
Let's go Sixers.